Let me record. Hang on. So what's going on, officer?
I'm Sergeant Simon with Lawrence Township Police Department. Nice to meet you, Steve. As you know, we're all recording, so
that's fine.
Both sides.
This officer here recorded with his personal cell phone, so I'll be requesting that in a public records request. So please ensure he does not delete it.
I didn't record you, but okay.
Now we're playing semantics.
Again, I wasn't there. I don't know anything about that.
Take a look at his phone.
I can't. You know the rules. I can't just go into one of my subordinates' phone.
He just used it within his official capacity to take pictures of me, and I have him on camera saying he's going to take pictures of me.
But I didn't say I was using.
Okay. We're playing semantics here. Come on.
Again, I wasn't here and wasn't there to see what had happened.
I'm not. I'm following along.
Let me go with the basics. We both know that you're allowed to videotape in public facilities.
Correct.
We understand that.
Yep.
Where the question's going to come is whether or not the people that may be videotaped at the time, they do have a right not to be videotaped or choose not to. And if there's underage, they absolutely, unless there's a parent there, because again, we don't know what the purposes of the video is for.
Do you have to know the purpose?
If you have underage parties who can't,
you can't have both ways.
No. So let's go.
We're in public, correct?
Let's go with the fact of if there's anyone who takes exception to the video, personally takes.
It's already been a Supreme Court ruling. You have no reasonable expectation out in public. We're out in public.
But these people are in here, possibly underage.
Okay, so if I'm at the beach taking pictures and video, do I have to go and ask everybody their information?
There are, and again, if somebody,
but they're not required to bring their driver's license, social security card, birth certificate.
Right.
Whether I go to
if they're having their documents or anything that could be recorded that has personal information on it, and they have an exception to it, yes, I think there's a point where you have the. I see what you're saying about the beach.
I have to record.
But if someone at the beach takes an exception to it, then you
doesn't matter. You have to enforce the law, and you have to.
I understand that, but you understand with the harassment statute, anything that's alarming and annoying.
No.
If someone gets bothered by what you're doing and they don't know why you're doing it, you do agree.
It's a First Amendment protected activity. It's already been ruled on the Supreme Court.
But
just by virtual
recording, understand
recording,
that you can still be asked to not take that person's picture anymore.
Sure, I could be asked. Sure.
Right.
I don't have to. Stop.
Right. But they can also sign a complaint against you for harassment because they don't.
I disagree.
Because they find it. No. That'll be something the courts will decide.
I sat in the corner there by myself. I went in. I went to the bathroom. I sat in the corner. The security officer and the manager approached me. I said nothing to nobody. Okay. It's a public area. I can record all day long. And
they're checking the lines.
They check what?
The power lines. You know, the vegetation.
Yeah. I used to fly in helicopters. So I could record all day long, whether it's the beach. It's a public area. And he said I can record as long as I'm not. I could be in there as long as I'm not recording. Supreme Court's already ruled eyes cannot trespass.
Okay, but the first thing I said to you was the fact that we already said that the courts have found that you videotaping public facilities is acceptable.
Correct.
Okay.
Including if somebody walks up with their driver's license, or somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, I don't want you recording me," and then you guys go, "Well, now you're creating a disturbance." I didn't create the disturbance. The person that came up saying, "I don't want you recorded." But meanwhile, we're out in public.
Technically, you did create.
No, I didn't.
Okay. They're reacting to you.
Which is an acceptable legal. Which you guys are already accepting that it's a legal premise.
Okay.
What I'm doing.
But you understand that still, even when you're doing legal activities, can still sign a complaint against you, and then the court will bounce it off whether or not.
But that's if there's probable cause for a crime to be committed. There is no probable cause because I didn't do anything. This guy said he had probable cause before.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I know the law's on my side.
This back and forth on this is, and harassment, which you will know well, is very gray on what people.
One person had a problem with it.
Okay, we don't know if anyone complained.
But even if they did, so I'm at the beach and I'm flying my drone, and somebody calls the police saying that's harassing me. They can't go sign a complaint on the person for filming it.
Are you talking about the police or the person who's feeling harassed?
Either.
No, they can.
And it's going to be thrown out of court because it's irrelevant.
You're being the judge and the jury and everything else.
Because there's already court cases ruled on it.
So then it would just waste your time, and it would waste everyone's time.
Yeah, and then I sue the person for bringing me into court.
Okay.
Right.
You know, I already know you guys look me up. I sue governments all the time.
That's
we know.
So,
well, at least now we know who we're talking to.
But
you
even
wouldn't
still,
give me, you
there's
wouldn't
no
give me
reason
the
if you
idea.
know who I am. Why'd you investigate who I am? I didn't commit a crime.
Because I would, like I said,
I didn't commit a crime.
I wanted to make sure you weren't a registered sex offender.
I mean, he's asking me for my ID, telling me I have to show him my ID. I didn't commit a crime.
And did you? And were you arrested? You're not.
Okay.
You're
No,
free.
you put your gloves on now.
You're
I
free.
got that taped.
That's fine.
Saying I'm trespassing. Meanwhile, I'm allowed to be here as long as I'm not recording. So I can't trespass. I can record all day long, which you've already established. So him getting his gloves on.
You seem to be arguing for both of us. So I'll whenever you're ready, I'm saying
I
to
know
you
it's
that you
legal.
have the ability to do so. I'm also saying, as he said quickly, that if anyone does want to sign a complaint against you and it goes to the municipal, that's fine.
I have no problem with that. I have a lawyer.
That's fine.
I got 3 lawyers,
Like I
no
said,
problem.
We've dealt with similar situations
Yeah,
like
I know
this.
Jen Combs.
Okay, so again, and if you saw her video, you saw that she dealt with me.
Okay, I haven't seen it in a long
right,
time.
which is why I don't get excitable. We understand what it was. It's
But
just
I want
the
you guys
fact that-
protecting my rights.
Okay.
Okay, they're saying there's a policy. I already showed him the policy. There is none.
Okay.
Even if there was, it's policy and law. What trumps? Law. So you're law enforcement, not policy enforcement.
Right.
So, but there is no policy. Even if there was, they used to have a sign up there saying no recording, and I asked for that sign,
What
and
do
all of a
you think-
sudden, lo and behold, they're all gone.
Let me ask you a simple question. What percentage do you think would be okay in society for you to record them while they have their credentials out? While they have a
I don't do that. Okay, I've already
I
been.
don't know that. We don't know what you're recording.
But even if I did, it's legal.
But would you be okay with someone recording all your stuff? You didn't even give me your name.
I don't have to, because the law's on my side.
But
Follow
the
the law.
reason you didn't give me your name is for whatever reason. But at the same time, you're okay videotaping other people's credentials,
I'm
licenses.
not recording their credentials. I sat in a corner.
I don't know
How
what
am
you're
I getting
recording.
anybody's credentials?
Okay.
Now we're playing
no.
semantics here.
See,
No, you're playing some hits.
you've already discussed on how the court will do if anyone takes any action against you, what you'll follow up with. That's fine.
Mhm.
Post 9/11, you'll understand that there's certain concerns regarding this.
In this day and age?
The moment we've already stepped forward, and
Is
I
it in
already
this
said,
day and age?
you don't believe that in this day and age there's
So-
still concerns about people walking through public buildings with videotaping?
Should we worry about Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor? I mean, it's been 18 years since 9/11.
But you know what?
You know what I'm saying? It's been 18
and I know
years.
you're looking for the semantical argument
I'm
back
not.
and forth. I'm saying with everything from school shootings to other terrorist activities, which are all topical and recent.
Well, that's not a terrorist activity, school shooting. It's not for a
Okay,
political game, and that's exactly
I'm not
what
going
the
to
definition
argue
is.
on that because everyone has. There are different
definition.
definitions of, when people work in coordination. That it becomes. So all I'm saying to you is, we know that you have the legal right to do
Mm-hmm.
so.
He just told me I can't record inside.
We've
I know,
already
when we
had.
conference, we told them that.
He told me, because I went over there, I said, what's the verdict? He said, you can't record inside.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm just walked up. What's the first thing I said to you?
Well, I'd like to sign harassment complaints on both of them because they came up to me. I sat in a corner. I left everybody alone. I didn't interact with anybody. They came up to me and I said to the security guard, please leave me alone. I can stand anywhere I want. So you decide to stand next to me for no reason, right? It's to harass me. So as you said, I
Well,
can...
no, I'm under the impression that all he was doing was standing by the person until they got clarification on what they needed to do.
But I gave you the information already. I gave them the information.
Well, I don't know what. Again, hold on.
I gave you Camilla versus New Jersey.
Hold on one
You're
second.
assuming-
You cited case law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what they're internal, what they're lawful. Okay. If they have anything that's not, which is outside of 2C, which is outside of any of the other titles. Okay.
So I'm going to show you here. This is a public records
Hold on,
request.
hold on.
Oh, sorry. I got to do the same thing. So here's a public records request for their policies on photography, videography inside a public building. There is none.
Okay.
So I showed that to him. I showed it to them. I showed it to the officer.
And then did you get a response?
Yeah, it says no responsive records they can't be a policy because it's a public area. Now, I'm not going into restricted areas. I agree with you. You can't do that. Just like in the police department, I can't go in there. But this is a public lobby. Right next to me was a public space sign. So everything shows in my favor.
Okay.
And that's all I ask of you is just to enforce the law.
We've already done that.
Right.
So.
Right, and
that
I've showed
part-
this to them, and they continue to stand next to me. I told them the law.
Well, just like you've been saying, you can keep moving around. You have the right to keep moving around about.
Well-
They have
No, he
the
said
right
I can't record inside.
And they have the right to.
I'm sure there's
follow you.
concerns for the driver testing area.
And that's why I'm on the other side.
But okay, so you notice that we're not saying you cannot, you shall not. All I'm saying to you is that, and like I said, it was the same thing with Jennifer when I dealt with her, was the fact that she was fine up until somebody felt uncomfortable. In which case, then
that's
things.
Not a law.
But under the.
Just because I feel uncomfortable that they came up to me.
And you know the difference in Jersey, the difference between crimes and offenses.
Right.
So
well, there are no crimes in New Jersey. It's like.
Well, no, there are crimes.
Well, it's first offense, second. It's.
First through fourth degree crimes.
Right.
And then petty disorderly or disorderly person offenses.
But no, the offenses aren't crimes.
No, that's right. That's why I'm saying there are offenses versus crimes.
Correct. I'm very well versed in what I'm doing. I know I'm 100% right.
So the only thing I'm going to do is just confirm that there's nothing else that is. You have the right to continue doing what you're doing. Okay, can I borrow this for 2 seconds and I'll return it?
Sure, absolutely.
Excellent. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right with you. Stopping my videotape for a conversation.